cameras, action. Now let's engage in the dialogue. Let me browse through your mind like a catalog. Conscious metaphysics, allow me to break down the specifics. Educate, motivate. If you don't feel free, you can liberate. An LLC is what I'm building, the #1 podcast in the building. So let me slide on up in the Bentley truck in my Versace shirts. They can't get enough of this deep conversation, expansion, elevation. I'll send you a link you can tap in. It ain't quite what I used to do back then. Now I get it on the front and the back end. Multiple money streams keep coming in. Enlightened, empower, evolve. Enlightened, empower, evolve. Just in time. Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryan Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved. I am sure everyone is doing well. Everything is unfolding perfectly, and I'm just excited. I'm excited because I have a guest that is returning again. Just amazing. I love talking to this queen, this woman, and just to go over it a little bit, she is the founder of Soul Space Healing, an author, coach, teacher, speaker, psychic, Reiki medic, practitioner, and just so much more. You can't put her title one thing. It's just so many things, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But without further ado, welcome again, everyone. Bola Abimbola. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so well, Lou. Thanks for having me again on your show. I do love your show, and well done to all the work you're doing, for all the work you're doing in terms of empowering people all over the world. Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. And as you can see, even with that introduction, just the anticipation of what you have to share with us today is a bit overwhelming for me and just exciting, in a good way. So I'm excited. So I love listening.
So am I.
Yes, I listened to the podcast, the first podcast that we did. I've watched it and listened to it about 3 times, just listening to it, and it just flowed so well. Like as I said before, your voice is amazing, and I like listening to it.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
for those of you that are watching now, let me look it up right here while we're on the show live, and you'll see where I'm going with this. For those of you that are here after this one, go and look at the first one I did with Bola, and it's entitled Soul Space Healing. I entitled it after her organization, Soul Space Healing. So go watch that after this one. So yes, as we were discussing prior to this recording, yes, let's talk about how everything ties in together, with your formal education and with the education that you've done that's not formal, and how that all ties together. So yes, give us a little background on your degrees, your awards, whatever.
Thank you, Lud. I was just going to say that you are the singer, you're the one with the voice. So it's you're the one with the voice. I'm just
Okay, the singing voice. You have the amazing speaking voice. Yes, it's the tone of your voice, the way that you articulate yourself, the just everything, your presence, your energy, it all ties in together. And I'm taking that from you, how everything ties in together. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
It's just beautiful.
We were just talking before we came on live about how everything we've done in the past from our teenage years, everything feeds into whatever we do later on. So nothing really is wasted. So, for me now as a spiritual coach, as a teacher, as an author, I feel that the flavor of what I do now is really coming from my past, coming from my psychology degree, coming from my master's degree in business administration. So I have an understanding of business clarity. I have an understanding of how you can balance all those different aspects of who you are. You may be a businesswoman, you may be a mother, you may be a wife, a sister, a daughter. There's so many roles that we have, and it's all about integration. For me, it's all about understanding what each and every part of us is bringing into the whole. So yes, those are I do have 3 degrees. I also have a postgraduate degree in health management. My background was in managing health centers and providing energy, service re-engineering to different departments in the health service here in the UK. I'm originally from Nigeria, but I have been based in London since probably nearly 30 something years now. So
Wow.
it's been a while. But really everything I've done has been around mental health, psychology, cognitive behavior therapy, and moving into certified trauma recovery coaching. And then now into Akashic writing. So really beginning to understand ourselves as spiritual beings, ourselves as energy beings. This is the truth that I found for myself. I remember not wanting to embrace energy healing as a way of life, because now it's a way of life for me, not just a job. I remember my brother about 10 years ago telling me about Reiki energy healing and how we could help my son. I have a son who has complex health needs, and
I think you
how
mentioned that early on the
in the first episode,
first
yeah.
episode. Yes, yes. Go
So
ahead.
he said to my younger brother said to me, this my son didn't sleep much at night.
Right,
And he said to me, oh, this energy healing would help him sleep. And I didn't believe him. And I just said to him, no, no, don't bring that stuff to me. I don't want to hear about all that stuff. I'm just going to, use all the medication that he's been given. But none of those things worked for him. And
right,
this is not about saying one thing is better than the other. It's about knowing what works for you, because we
right,
are all so unique as individuals. And having something that works for everybody doesn't mean it will work for you.
right,
So all the medication we tried for him didn't work. And I finally gave in. I finally asked him to ask his Reiki practitioner to send my son Reiki. They didn't even have to turn up in the house. They could just send it, by, distance Reiki.
right.
And that was the very first night he slept. He was 8 years old, the very
Wow,
first night he slept.
wow.
And I still didn't give in to it for myself, but I was
Still weren't
giving him
convinced.
Reiki. I wasn't fully doing it for myself, but
Right,
it made me access it for his benefit. And
right,
it was only years later that I decided, actually, let me try this for myself. So it was in 2018 that I decided to certify myself as a Reiki practitioner. And since then, there has been no turning back, because it opened up doors for me in
right.
terms of my own understanding of who I am. And when we come across something that works for us, there's no going back. We
Yes,
have
absolutely.
we've had a taste of everything else. We know what didn't work, and we cannot fool ourselves. We
Right.
can lie to everybody else, but we cannot lie to our own
To
self.
ourselves. Yeah, we
And
can. Yeah,
I came to understand that this is who I am. I am an energy practitioner, because my life has become even sweeter since then. So it's but all of the things I've learned in the past as a psychology, working with, as a psychologist working with mental health patients, working in the health service as a manager,
right,
working as a health service coach,
right,
in the health service. Doing all of that has really created a different flavor to my energy healing.
right,
I do have a deeper understanding of what people go through in different areas of their lives, and
right.
I can bring that to my work.
Amazing. And you said something, everything that you said stood out to me. But you said once, I forgot exactly how you put it, but once you learn something, you can't go back. That reminds me of another saying that once you expand your mind, it's not going to shrink back again, because
Oh,
you have this knowledge now, you have this awareness,
yeah.
and our brain stores just like a computer. So, not saying that you can't um, go back to old habits or anything like that, but even within those old habits,
It won't be
you
the
are
same.
you're still aware of what
Yes,
does not work. And
yes,
if you
expansion.
purposely, yeah, and if you purposely go back to things that do not work for you, that's you're making a conscious effort to do that, because then there's something in you that's going to tap on you and say, hey, this doesn't work, right? Because of the awareness and the knowledge that you have acquired.
Yes,
You
different
can't
level.
unlearn what you've learned and
Yes.
become unaware what you're aware of now. And that reminded me of that as well,
Yeah.
Bola.
I think it's about levels. They're different levels.
Right,
Sometimes we say, we forgive somebody, but
right,
we haven't fully forgiven them. There's still elements of, there's
right,
still elements of memories left
right.
in from that experience. So we may feel that we're going back to holding the doubts, to holding the mistrust, but it's just another level. It's just another
Levels.
level. Once we have learned it, once we have forgiven them that first time, it depends on how deep the cut was. There's some cuts that are so deep that one sweep doesn't work, and you
Yeah,
have to go back.
psychological cuts. Yeah, if
Yes,
I may add. Right,
emotional, mental, psychological energy cuts. They will
right.
need a number of sweeps in order for us to actually get them clean. But we all know when we sweep, something is cleared. Something is always cleared.
Right.
And you cannot unclear it. Something is always cleared.
Clear.
But we
Right.
need to go back and clear it some more because the cut is deeper than some other
Right.
cuts. So some people we can forgive in one go, and some people need like 10 years.
No, I'm glad that you elaborated on that, because that there is that we need to understand that yeah, when people say, oh, just forgive and let it go and all that, it's easier said than done, especially when there's psychological, emotional damage within us, contributed to us from another person or another situation. It doesn't just go away that easy. It's almost like as if and I don't, maybe I can use this analogy. If you're on a plane, right, and it almost crashes, it's going to take you a while to get back on another plane again,
Yeah,
most likely, because
yeah,
the psychological impression that it left on you from that being a close call to that plane almost crashing. And yes, it may take a while. Like, okay, well, maybe short flight here this time, and then or whatever. I can't, I don't know exactly what works, and like you said before, also what works for one person may not work for another one.
never.
So it's just different. Like you said, it's different levels. Yeah. Hmm. Amazing. So your formal education, you studied there, in all of it was in London.
No, I did 3 years medical degree in Nigeria
Oh,
before I
Nigeria.
came. Yes, yes, I was that's where I met my first husband, the father of my kids,
Oh,
was
okay.
back in Nigeria. And when he invited me over, because we were both studying at uni, and then he came over here
Oh,
to
okay.
England. And then I was in my third year, and then he said to me, "Oh, come and join me." And I followed love, Lute. This is
Right,
what I
right.
did.
Exactly. And rightfully so. Or rightfully
And
so.
this was destiny. It was destiny
Right,
because, we had a 12-year marriage, and that was wonderful. We had the two boys, and we're
right.
still good friends.
See, now
So,
that
yeah,
right there is important.
conscious, through
Right,
conscious reminders of
right.
the value of having a good relationship when you're parenting. You may have
Yes. Wow.
your you know disagreements and conflicts with other people that do not necessarily impact others, but when you have kids with somebody, it is
Right,
important to consciously release the doubts, release the conflicts, release the limits that stop you from being the best that you can for your children. So that
Wow.
has that's a lesson that we both learned over the years. So yeah. So my first I studied in Nigeria, then I came here, and then I did psychology, my degree in psychology. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So have you been back to Nigeria since?
Yes, I go back. In fact, I was in politics. I did some, well, I started out in politics back in school. I've always loved politics and, you know, kind of activities that advocate for the needs of others, advocate for justice. That
Right,
is, and once you have this in your blood, you can't take it out.
right, right.
There are
Yes,
there are some people who really can just get on with life and not really be concerned about the welfare or the justice of for others. And there's some of us who we just know that it is something we have to be involved in. It's something that is fulfilling for us. So I've been involved in politics from as long as I can remember. I was involved in politics here in the UK, when I was 25 years old. I was involved in politics here. And then I got involved in politics when I turned 30 in Nigerian politics, because Nigerian politics, there are diaspora groups.
right,
There are
right,
fractions of political parties, all over the world. Wherever Nigerians are based, they will form fractions of the political parties back home. So I joined one of the fractions here in the UK, and I ended up, serving as a political appointment with one of my governors, with my state
wow,
governor back
wow,
home in Nigeria. So I did that for about 2 years. So yes, and I loved it. It gave me an understanding of the challenges that we sometimes face and how these challenges do not really get turned around overnight.
exactly.
There is quite a lot of um, historical issues. There are quite a lot of historical issues that we probably do not fully understand quite yet.
Right,
And we are probably wanting to run before we can walk. And
right,
that made me realize that it will probably be better for me to come back and face my children, because I was trying to juggle being a mother. I was a single mother with my two boys. I was trying to juggle being a mother and being a politician and traveling to and fro. And that was tough. And I
yes,
knew that I needed to come back here and face being a mother to my boys,
right.
because the work that needed to be done was going to take much longer than I thought I thought I could achieve a lot more than I did.
But you have achieved a lot, and just listening to just segments of what you've experienced, that you've lived um, a pretty fulfilling life. And in my perspective, it seems like that whatever you even have a slight interest in, you fully, you know, um, dive into that. You had an interest in
Sure,
politics. There, you have an interest here. Yes, and it seems like that you give yourself fully to um, your whatever that you like, that your passion. You
sure.
know, you're passionate about. You don't um, half step when you go in a certain direction. That's what I gather. You
Mm-hmm.
give it fully.
I agree. I agree.
Right,
It takes hard work. It takes hard work, and I think understanding that is key. That
right,
is one thing to have the passion. Is
right,
another thing to have a good vision, to really know what you want out of this, to be very clear about what you want out of it,
right.
and then to not give up, because there will
Exactly.
always be obstacles in the way. No one hands you anything on a plate. You have to work really hard, and it's about really doing something that fulfills you. And that, I mean, there are things I've done which I will say were stepping stones. So I didn't complete them, and that's okay. I think there are some times when, because I remember starting out and wanting to do psychiatry. And
Right.
I realized that I didn't really want to be that hands-on frontline with
Hmm.
those who had very severe mental health difficulties. So I dropped it. And
Right.
I think that is something that we need to understand about ourselves. When we drop something, it's not because we were lazy. It's
Right.
probably because it just wasn't for us.
Right.
And
Right.
it's important to accept whatever it is we're dropping and whatever it is that is still interesting to us, to identify what is interesting to me now. Because sometimes we find ourselves in a place of contraction, or as someone will call it, depression. And we're being asked to stop and reconnect to what it is that is of interest to us, to our soul, at soul level. And this is what I have come to really do very well, to be able to understand what do I really want from this situation, whether it's to do with my work, whether it's to do with my personal life. Being very clear about what we want is so important because that is the only way we get the best out of it. That is the only way we hang in there. We push through. We push through the very challenging because life comes. Life
Yes.
comes with all kinds
Yes.
of flavors.
Flavors, right, and rightfully so. That those flavors help to shape us, and um,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
and if we stay, as long as we stay aware, we can get some vitamins, so to speak, out of everything, even if it seems like
Yeah.
it's something, especially the difficult things. And that's what I've
Yeah.
learned. And you said some key things, a lot of key things there. When you let things go, okay, that's your passion didn't lie there. That's why you let it go. So don't beat
Yeah.
yourself up thinking that you were
Yeah.
lazy. It's just that wasn't for you, because anything that we're passionate about, we're going to give our energy and all to it. And then you said another thing, nothing is handed to us on a plate. And even if it is, we're not going to learn anything from that being handed to us. And 9 times out of 10, we won't appreciate that as if we have put all the work and the effort and the time into developing, what our passions and purposes, what we're going to, you appreciate it more and they stick with you, other
Yeah.
than someone just giving you something or whatever. Not saying that we can't receive gifts or assistance or help. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you know when it comes to like a goal or something, it's
Yeah.
not going to be handed to you. You have to go after it. And if it's something that you truly are passionate about, you're going to put the work into it. So I like what you said. Don't beat yourself up to think you're lazy, because you might be interested in something one moment and then you find out that that's not connecting to your spirit and you let it go. So
The stepping stone. It was only a
stepping
stepping
stone.
stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
like you
there's a
said, oh, go
wise
ahead. Go ahead.
being.
Go ahead.
I don't want to lose this thing because it keeps coming to my mind to say
Yes,
it.
yes, go ahead.
There is a wise being within us.
Right.
There is this, we do not realize how wise we are within our own self. And we sometimes need to connect to that really powerful being within us. Everything is as it needs to be. The ups and the downs, it's as it needs to be. And the level of acceptance that we can have, I am still learning this for my own self. I can say, being a parent of a child with special needs, or having gone through so many ups and downs, everything happened to make me who I am today.
Right.
And everywhere we go, it's not a coincidence. It's, I said the first time we met, that there's nobody that we meet, even the man on the bus, the woman on the bus, or the bus stop, on the queue at work, there is a connection that is meant to happen, to give us something. There is a synchronicity that is happening. This is Things are being said, things are being done in a way that takes us on a journey. And that journey is something that we can come to accept in a much more fluid way, flow with it, as opposed to resisting is the doubts. It's the doubts that we have had as children that have come about as a result of trauma that we have had. I mean, I've had severe trauma as a child as well. I stammered, I had childhood sexual abuse as well. And all of that really makes you become a person without self-worth.
Right.
And you do not understand that. Apart from the self-worth of the ego, there is that powerful being, that infinite being that lies, the God self that lies within us. And
yes, I love
we
that.
can come to really connect with that God self and allow that God self to drive, much like the pilot drives the plane that we are traveling in when we're going on holiday. That pilot is our higher self. That's our God self, infinite wisdom that will allow us to get to where we are going. And we don't have to think about it. We don't have to resist it. Just allow ourselves to be guided by what comes and be ready to work hard, take action as we are becoming aware. And that's what my book talks about. The self-awareness in my book allows, you develop that self-awareness through the 31 days, because I share 31 inspiration for the soul that allows a deeper awareness of self, a deeper awareness of self. That for me is fundamental. Self-awareness is so fundamental for us as human beings in our day-to-day.
Amazing. And can you tell us the title of your book again? You said it on the first show, but we did just for people that haven't. Yes. And where to get it?
Yes, it's called Daily Soul Bites for an Inspired Life. And it's on Amazon Kindle, and it's coming out on audiobook as well as paperback. It's being published by Balboa Press, a division of Hay House, coming out before Christmas this year.
Now I remember, I tried to get it, and I don't know, my phone or whatever, it wouldn't allow me to get the Kindle, but that's what I was going to. You reminded me to ask you. I want that paperback. So when will that be available?
Well, that will be available in about 4 to 5 weeks. So yes, I will. Yes. I will publicize that.
Yeah,
I'll promote that.
Yeah, be sure to do that, and I'll have to have you back again, especially after I purchase that book and I read it, and then I'm going to pick your brain on where you came up with certain things here, and I think that will be an amazing episode to just simply reviewing your book. I think that would be amazing, and that will help publicize your book and enlighten me and you and everyone else.
Oh, thank you, Lou.
That'll be amazing.
I look forward to that.
Yes, I think that would be, I just came up with that right now. It just flowed into me. That would be amazing. And I've never done a segment like that with an author in regards to it being solely about the author's book. So I think that would be amazing. You'd be the first one. And I think.
Oh, I look forward to that.
Quite fitting as well, because I almost lose my train of thought, and you'll know where I'm going with this when I'm listening to you, because your cadence and the way that you articulate is so soothing that I'm just listening to you speaking, and I'm like, oh, we're talking about something here. So yes, you have a very and I can't say it enough, a very hypnotizing, magnetic way about yourself in the way that you articulate yourself, and amazing.
Thank you.
And I would like for you to, whether you do or not, and I think I said this before, later down the line, to narrate your book and upload that like that. I think that would be awesome, even if you just do like segments where you do a chapter. Okay, today number 1, you do chapter 1, and you read it, and then chapter 2 you read it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, even if it's just your audio, not you there, but just upload the audio of you narrating your book a chapter at a time. I think that's just something, an idea I thought about, because why not? And I don't really want to use capitalize, but why not take advantage of your gift that you have, and you have a very um a great gift of speech and your voice and the way that you said it wasn't always like that. I remember that. And look how you had to go through not being
Oh,
that
yeah.
way on the
Oh,
total
yeah.
opposite scale at first. And now look, now
I
you're above and
barely get
beyond.
the words. A
Yes,
stammerer. I was a stammerer as a child. I could
right.
barely get the
That's
words
what I'm
out.
saying. So
Mhm.
you would never know that now. Amazing, Bola. So yes, I appreciate you again coming on to my show. And how can people find you?
Yes, thank you, Lute. I am on my website, soulspacehealing.com.
Okay.
I'm also on YouTube, Bola Abimbola Official, and I'm on Facebook as Bola Abimbola, also as Soul Space Healing, and I'm on Instagram as well. But the best place to get me is on my website,
Soul Space. Oh,
www.soulspacehealing.com.
yes, everyone hit up that website and look more into Bola, and see and go and get that book. Especially I am looking forward to that book coming out in 5 weeks on paperback, but right now you can get it on Kindle, and that's Daily Soul Bites, right? For the
For
soul,
an inspired life,
for an
yes.
inspired life,
So,
and
and
that's
the
under
bite is BYTS. So daily
BYTS,
soul and then BYTS bites for an inspired life to
and
raise your self-awareness and raise self-acceptance.
that's under your name, Bola Abimbola.
Bola Abimbola, yes,
Okay,
yes.
yes, just to make that quite clear. And I will put that link to your book in the description of this video. And yes,
Thank
everyone, I appreciate everyone for showing up, for watching, and be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button and share this video around, help grow the platform, and get these messages out there to everyone. And check out also my website at 333 empower. What is my website? 333empower.com. Yes.
you.
I see.
Brilliant.
That's what you did.
Thank you.
I
Thank you
told
for
you.
having me, Lud. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. And I'll see everyone soon. Love and appreciation.